If you're going to win a sim racing championship in a short season with no drop races, you must do two things. First, show up to every race. Second, avoid bad results. That is the formula used to perfection so far by David Third Degree Burns. A veteran of this series, Burns, with a win and results no worse than fifth, has positioned himself for a championship which has eluded him in so many previous campaigns. Will Third Degree continue his assault on the crown, or will the fickle finger of fate point in the direction of Burns like it has so many times before? Find out now, because sanctioned by the Absolute Beginner League from the new Roval at Charlotte, it's time for round 5 of the Formula Neagle Season 16 Championship. And you can watch all the simulated Dallara Formula 3 action from green flag to victory donuts live as it happens right here on the Global SimRacing Channel via the iRacing Esports Network. Hello and welcome. Way up in the press box to bring you our bird's eye view is yours truly, Bill Soups On, joined by Chris Phoebe. Sean Crackers Ambrose has director duties armed with cameras provided by Dougie Beer. The Charlotte racetrack has been free content for a long time on the iRacing service. So long, in fact, that iRacing pulled the trigger and recently rescanned this place, including the new Roval configuration. Chris, tell us a little bit about today's venue.
Well, Bill, like you mentioned, this is a recently revised version of the Charlotte Roval. Lots of challenging curbs and curves around the banked oval track, as well as through the technically challenging road course section of the track. And we have all sorts of play-by-play action on what it takes to get around this track from our friend Joe.
All right, we've got Michael Haflidason in the GSRC Formula 3, so let's do a lap around Charlotte. Down in a heartburn turn, this is a quicker corner than you'd expect, so I don't think you're going to see too many passes into here. Try not to clobber the outside wall, and then you're going to swing it through turn 2. After that, you'll set up the car for 3 and 4, which needs very little braking and acts as one long arc. Make sure to track out all the way up to the grass because it's all fair game. Up next is 5, which is easily flat out, but it blends into the braking for 6. This blind corner will be tough to hit just right, and then before you know it, you're swinging back immediately into 7. You can't quite send it into here flat out without smacking the wall, so be careful. However, it's going to be important to carry your speed because you're back onto the oval and you won't be lifting until the very end of the lap. Know that your opponents will be getting a very handy draft, even from pretty far behind you. But if you find yourself side by side, sort it out quick because the backstretch chicane is very much single file. You don't have to lift, but you're threading the needle to avoid the horribly disruptive curbs. In NASCAR 3 and 4, you just gotta hug the bottom line and watch to see if anyone behind you has got to run from the slipstream. Then, it's a game of chicken into the front stretch chicane. Don't jump those blue curves because the car just can't handle it. However, as you come to the line, you've now hopefully finished a lap around Charlotte.
My goodness, does not take long to get around this place. Joe Peak doing what nobody does better, talking and taking us around a racetrack. This time, it's the Roval here at Charlotte. All right, let me try to do as well, taking a lap through the point standings. We'll start with the F1 driver standings. Now, we talked about Burns and what he's been doing in the opening. The Sintra sensation, João Valverde, sits in second despite missing not one, but 2 races. But thanks to a win and a second place, he is in second entering this event. Michael Haflidason dreams of a crown. Looks like they are going to say just that as he sits well off the pace in third. An impressive performance by Ludwig Sauer, 7th, 10th, 5th, and 6th, has him in a tie for third. And then rounding out the overlay are 2 drivers that are tied, Vincent Bream and Dennis Garrison, who you don't see mentioned there. Let's go to the F2 Driver Championship. Now, we talked about this before. You saw Haflidason and Sawyer tied for third in the F1 standings. You know that F1 standings is kind of an overall championship that includes both the F1 and F2 drivers. But because the F2 championship is scored by a separate scoring system, indeed you see that Ludwig Sauer is your points leader here by 15 points over Haflidason. The Strudelmeister, Thomas Kick, sits in third position, but is not far before Lance Simon and Paulo Pareto have a chance to get to that final podium spot. Let's look at the team championship where, my goodness, it is all about two stupid stops. That is David Third Degree Burns and Vincent Bream. They are 45 points ahead of anybody else. You know, Alex Johnson is fast, but he's not going to be able to race the whole season because he's building a new pedal set. That's going to make Tom Van Hoyman's job to get that team, to keep that team in second, almost impossible. Team talent, they look like they're a sure spot for second with Liam Quinn and Valverde. Hopefully Yao can race more often than he has been so far. Am Racing Team, that is Michael Hofladason and the Strudel Michael Thomas Kick. Don't be surprised if you don't see them in second before the season is done. And then there's Virtual Motorsports, who's doing it all solo. Dennis Garrison, he's quick, but really you cannot be successful in a team championship if there is only a team of one. All right, we're always picking up new viewers. We certainly have a new track, so let's go ahead and let Chris talk about the event details.
All right, this is the 16th season of this illustrious series, with our 5th round being contested here today of 7 total, with no drops on the season, so every race counts. 60 minutes the distance in this race, with an open setup and 2 fuel stops most likely coming up. An incident cap of 24 on the event, so you got to behave yourself or you may get the boot.
That 2 fuel stop, I've been doing this for many a season, and I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around 2 stops. For so long, it has been a 1-stop event, but now, really, it is 2 stops. We expect it to be, you can break it up into even thirds, or you can go long, and then a splash and go at the end there. All right, qualifying getting underway. This is the first time I have called a race from this venue. This will be fun to see how passing is, how this plays out, where the passing zones are. I think this car track combination is going to be exciting.
I definitely agree with you on that one, Bill. I've been watching practice here for the last little bit, and you can see these guys having all kinds of challenges trying to find the limits of how far they can push these cars around this track. So it's new to us broadcasting, and even newer to the drivers on the track.
Riding on board with the Sintra sensation right now, the Portuguese driver, Yao Valverde. He has a win under his belt and a second place, but he's missed 2 races. Good to see him back racing with us. There are 2 bus stops. I like to call them the Little Dipper and the Big Dipper. The first one comes up here. It's really almost just kind of a run through, through that little chicane, and then the big one right before the start-finish line. There's that one right there. That's just kind of a little quick chicane. But then the major one that comes up here in a minute, which could be a passing zone, which might be interesting to see if it also leads to a last lap drag race to the finish line. There it is right there. You can see this one is substantially larger. And there's the finish line right after you get done with it.
And that second bus stop, Bill, has been one of the definitely one of the more challenging spots going through practice. A lot of drivers trying to find maximum speed through that area, and it has not been going.
No fast repairs here in this series. You break it, you bought it. It's big boy racing. Yeah, it's called the Absolute Beginner League. Don't let that name fool you. That's just because they are friendly to new drivers. They welcome new guys coming in. They'll help you. They'll teach you how to race. You'll get faster. But the top-tier talent is pretty strong.
I thought they were just talking about the commentator.
Welcome to the GSRC. Chris Foby getting used to being with us here. I'm happy to have him on board. Qualifying is in now. David Burns sits at the top. Vincent Bream just comes across in third. 12 drivers have put in time. There's about another 10 still to go. A healthy field size, but relatively small in comparison to some of the things we've seen here in the past where these grids would be, my goodness, they would top out at 60, 62 if they would allow it. Careful, boys. There's a little bit. That is David Boutellard.
You know, another aspect of this track that we haven't touched on too much, Bill, is those giant sausage curbs they have all over the track. And, you know, those are designed for the stock cars that are a lot beefier than these Formula 3 cars. Those curbs could be probably one of the biggest challenges we see today.
Looking at Ludwig Sauer, he's certainly fourth on the grid. Sits in a tie for third in the point standings. The man he is tied with, Mikel Hofladessen, has yet to put in a qualifying time as we ride on board with Sauer. Hofladessen would be the big name that has yet to put in a time. That would include Dennis Garrison also. Not sure if Dennis is out there. There's Ludwig Sauer.
So it looks like Hofladessen on the track now, looking to put in a hot lap. Looks like we're riding along with him, seeing what he'll put down for.
Boy, and as I watch this, I can just hear in my headphones the cars spinning and crashing left and right as people continue to try to get used to this track. Now out onto the oval for Hofladessen. That's a fun camera angle right there. Coming up, looking to get to the first chicane. This is a quick one. I think his lap is clean so far. Got to go back to make sure this is actually his hot lap and not his out lap. This might be his out lap. We'll find out here soon enough. Through the Big Dipper. We're thinking this is the hot lap, so let's see if he can put in a time. Nope. Oh, there we go. P3. That's more like it.
That was a pretty solid fast lap for him for waiting out the session. So
absolutely. There's David Butlar.
So he's already got a lap in that has him ranked 8th. We'll see what he hits when he crosses the line, but looks like he's trying to improve on that, obviously.
There's Hofladessen after putting in that lap that got him up to 30. He's going to try to see if he can better that. What is a lap time around here? How about a minute 6 and change?
Now, Bill, you're a little more familiar with these cars than I am. Do you think they can sustain a run for a couple laps here, or is it kind of one and done in these cars?
No, I think they'll be fine. These tires are don't go away.
I guess so, because Hofladessen just went to the top of the chart.
There you go.
Improved his time by almost a half second even. That's a pretty impressive lap.
Boy, and that'll make a big difference here, as he'll have nobody to worry about in front of him. He can race. Hofladessen is fast. Sometimes he's too fast for his own good, and he'll get into the back of somebody. He won't have to worry about that if he can start from the pole. David Third Degree Burns would like to change that right now as he works his way through that chicane, seeing if he can better. Nope, his 106.2 is going to live. Hofladessen put in a 1.6 flat. Now this is David Burns' teammate for Two Stupid Dogs, Vincent Brame. And that's not how that's the racing line you want to take.
So you're saying they don't want to go straight into the wall?
Yeah, that's for the most part, that's not going to do well for you. Burns and Brame set second and third on the grid. A good day for Two Stupid Dogs. All right, here comes the Sintra sensation. Gal Valverde, he has a win and he loops it around.
So we're on board with Van Hoyman here. He is sitting right about 6th on the charts, 2.5 off quick time.
Racing in his familiar number 77 machine. Sitting 6th with a 107.5. I think this is a clean lap. Let's see if he can better that. Coming across. Nope. Yo, he does move up a spot. Puts in a 107 flat, moves him up into 5th.
You know, Bill, I'm seeing all kinds of different approaches to taking the banking around this track. What do you think is going to be the preferred method once we get to racing? Oh, as Van Hoyman goes around, I don't think we're still watching him on the screen, but he just took the front wing off. But anyway, back to what I was saying about the banking. How do you think that's going to be approached come racing?
My gut is I don't think it's going to matter. I really think it's going to be the draft. I would not be surprised if people don't defend the inside line, make people take it around the top side. It's going to be a learning experience not only for the drivers, but for the commentators as well. So this is our first time looking at this car track combination. We'll learn it with you, fans. All right, Rodrigo Capoletto. Sitting in ninth. And I don't know if he's going to get this time in here, as I think qualifying is going to run out on him. They might let him finish. Yeah, I believe they're going to get it in. See if he can better his ninth position. Round number 5. It's a short season, only 7, no drop races. Capoletto negotiating that final chicane, gets on a squirt of the gas, gets him to the start-finish line. He'll remain, moves up into 8th position. Finally, Vincent Brame, he is sitting in 3rd. I can't imagine he's going to be able to better that time. Actually, now he is in 4th, as he does not make it to the end. Veteran of the series, the fan built, Johan Vanderbilt. Coming around.
Looks like he's going to jump up to 7th place, Bill.
There you go. A couple spots there at the end. All right, that's going to do it. 15 drivers put in qualifying times. 5 did not, as we have a field of 20. Let's run them down for you right now. On the front row, it is Mikael Hofladezen. A pair of 2 stupid dogs after that. In second, David Burns. I apologize. João Valverde got up there, split those dogs. In 4th position, there he is, Vincent Brame. 5th and 6th goes to Tom Van Hooyman and Ludwig Sauer. On the inside of row 4, it is the fan belt, Johan Vanderbilt. He's going to be flanked by David Buchler. Row 5 is populated by Rodrigo Capoletto and Fabio Zamparini.
Outside of the top 10, Bill, we got Richard Columbi in the 11th spot with Thomas Kick to his outside. Then it's going to be John Morgan and Friedrich Neptune. And our final driver to make a qualifying attempt was the American Lance Simon. And then we have our 4 non-qualifiers, Dennis Garrison, Guilherme Cravo, Edgar Sancinelli, and Jay Beige will complete the field.
Out of those 4 drivers that did not put in times, the one to keep an eye on is Dennis Garrison, but I'm a little bit worried. I'm not sure Dennis is going to race with us. He finished 2nd 2 seasons ago and is always fast, has many a race win under his belt, but I don't know he's going to get out there today. Beautiful day to go racing. We'll talk weather here when things slow down a little bit, but it's going to be pretty. Mikael Hofladezen, coming off one of his best performances of a 2nd place, yet to get a win in Formula Neagle. David Burns has a handful of wins, yet to get a championship. Scanning through the field of drivers, I do not see a former champion or defending champion in the mix today. Makes it wide open for us. You can see the tail end of the driver starting around in the chicane. That should be interesting.
I was just about to bring that up to you, Bill. That's going to be an interesting place to start for these European-style standing starts. Already in the chicane, that's going to probably be a bit of a disadvantage for those guys further back in the field, I would think.
Gather up the chickens, take cover behind the cows. The horses are out of the barn. And it is the light-colored car of Mikael Hofladezen leading the stampede down into corner number 1. Everybody makes it around smoothly. Burns, Valverde, Bream, and Van Hooyman round out your top 5. Single file.
Oh, we already got a car around. Johan Vandenveld going around.
A mistake all by himself. He spun right in front of Ludwig Sauer. When we come back to look at that one, it might be fun to take a peek at it from Sauer's point of view. Vanderbilt ends his day early. That might not be the worst thing to happen to him, as he's ready to go on a 3-week vacation. So he can start packing his bags. His day is done, I believe. Bit of a bifurcation now between 4th and 5th. The Vincent Bream has opened up a little bit of Tom Van Hoyman. But up front, Burns is really working on the back of Hofladezen. Hofladezen gets credited with leading the first lap here on this car track combination on GSRC. Congratulations. More trouble as Fabio Zamparelli spills the car in front of some traffic. Nobody gets into him. It does cause a little bit of a checkup. Frederick Neptune got into the back of John Morgan as they guys raced for 10th position. Now we ride on the driver in 3rd, Chris, and this is Valverde. He's looking on the back of Burns. Let's see how that plays out now. They come out onto the oval.
And as we mentioned, looks like the drafting line through the banked turns of the oval track as Valverde tries to set him up as they head down the back straight towards the first bus stop.
I can just report that Richard Colomb spins the car into the wall. So far, the winner of this race has been Charlotte Roval. Boy, Burns really opens up a gap on Valverde. Going offline was Vincent Bream through the chicane. He's going to lose a ton of time.
And looks like Van Humen's coming up on his back as well.
Hofladezen spins from the lead. He's trying to do a little wide turn right now as he's trying to get the car back out there. He gets it sorted around, I think. Finally gets it going. Going to the replay. Corner number 1. The bad news is he spins. The good news is everybody else is spinning as well. Frederick Neptune puts it in the wall. There are too many accidents. We would just be doing replays left and right. I'm telling you, they are spinning off faster than I can count them.
Well, you know, Bill, I've called a fair number of demolition derbies in my day, but not very many of them have been these style of cars, and it looks like that's kind of what we're looking at.
All right, now here comes Boutellard out of the pits. He comes out in front of our leader, David Third Degree Burns. Now, not sure if Boutellard is just doing his splash and go early or if he's in there for repairs because of an incident. He is still on the lead lap.
Yeah, no quick repairs in this one, I believe was the call. So these pit stops could be a little bit lengthy. I mean, we have an hour-long race to deal with here, but those quick repairs can still add up.
All right, now we got a little bit of racing we can show you here. This is John Morgan, and now it's spinning his Hofladezen again. And this time, he puts himself over a barrel as he backs into it, wallets the wall with a wallop.
He was the 18 car there for a second.
Yes, he was indeed. The 81 was upside down. Well, his day is done. Riding on Lance Simon now, looking back at Frederick Neptune. Neptune has had a bit of an issue already. We're looking up. We ride on board with Neptune. Looking back at Simon. That pass was just made this lap. Congratulations. Frederick gets up into 10th.
You know, Simon was one of the slower drivers in qualifying. Actually, I believe he was the slowest one to take a time, but you got to believe with how crazy everything's been, slow and steady may win the race in this.
Looking at drivers that did not start, Sancinelli, Beige, Cravo, Garrison, Vanderbilt is out, Colomb is out, Boutellard, I believe, is back out racing now. No, I think he might have called it a day as well. Hofladezen is out. So that gives us 11 cars on track, all on the lead lap, Lance Simon being the last of them. Mama Jean, my 96-year-old mother-in-law, if you're watching, go ahead, put your helmet on, sweetheart, and get out there. Just kind of limp around. You can maybe get yourself a top 5 by the time this is done. Look at this battle we got looking here.
Also, congratulations, Mama Jean, on being able to use a computer at that advanced age.
She knows her way around the Facebook.
A better profile picture is the Windows default one, right?
John Morgan in 7th being chased by the Strudelmeister, Thomas Kick. This is one of the best battles out there. Let's go ahead and see if we can actually see maybe a pass on the track between two cars that don't make a mistake. I don't know if we've yet to see one.
You know, Bill, you're setting us up for the announcer's curse there. We could see one of these cars in the wall here now.
Well, somebody's got to finish. The third car back there is Fabio Zamperlini. He races in 9th. He has a chance to... Hey, look at this! There's a pass. Kick underneath John Morgan.
And look at that. As we mentioned, the banking could play a role here in how these drivers approach it. He took the inside line and looks like the shorter line around.
All right. Again, we have a stop from Tom Van Hoyman. This might be a regular stop coming in here with... Could be the front part of the window. He finds his stall. Goes up. He looks like he's going to take tires. We'll see if this is a normal quick stop or if he's getting repairs done. Yep. There was repairs to be done. That's why he's been in there so long.
Oh, that's got to be so frustrating just sitting there hearing the cars getting ready to come back around.
David Burns coming across the lot, completing lap number 7, working lap number 8. Of course, the lap numbers don't matter. This is a timed race. We're going for an hour. 3 seconds up on Yal Valverde. Now, Valverde is quick. And what that has done, that makes Burns only, it's a 3-second gap. It seems comfortable, but one little mistake. And the Sintra sensation, Yal Valverde, will be right there.
And that's the biggest thing here, Bill. These guys have been all over the place as far as keeping the cars pointed in the right direction. And it's not out of the question for Valverde to see the leader possibly make an unforced error and give up that top spot.
Let's talk about a guy who's having a really good race. Let's go to 4th position. Haven't given him much love. Rodrigo Capelito. My goodness. He's been clean. He's been safe. Maybe not the fastest car out there right now, but he's found himself inside the top 5, up 5 spots.
That's going to be the biggest thing in a race like this, is keeping your nose clean and just keeping it pointed straight. I mean, that very well could get you a podium finish.
Now, you can see the interval. In fact, we can bring up the intervals of Sawyer. Sawyer is chopping it off pretty darn quick. It was 3 seconds when I brought to this. Now it is down to 2.7. So we'll keep an eye on Ludwig Sawyer. Great opportunity for Sawyer. He was tied with Hofladezen in the points in the F1 standings. Hofladezen had his issues, so that's going to help him there. And, of course, he was winning in the F2 championship, so this is going to be a good day for Sawyer. Capoletto must have been listening to the broadcast because as soon as I mentioned that Sawyer was gaining on him, Capoletto picks it up now, gets it up to 3.5 almost.
Well, I mean, if I was out there racing, I couldn't think of a more soothing voice I'd want in my ear than yours, Bill.
That's it. Looking for goers and comers right now. There you can see that's Sawyer looking up. Can he see his target? He's up there. Seeing my target notoriously makes me go slower. I cannot resist driving it in too deep into the corner.
Yeah, I was going to say, being able to see who I'm trying to pass usually makes me end up in the wall. But yep. Honestly, it doesn't take much for me to end up there anyway.
Let's go to 7th. This is John Morgan. I don't know how long he's going to be in 7th because Fabio Zamperlini is coming and coming in a hurry. Morgan gridded in 13th. That interval now down to under a second. Again, there are so many twisty sections here. So much of this car depends on setup. I've noticed a lot of cars are quicker during the twisty section. They'll run them down. Then they get out on the oval, and one driver will drive away. Let's see what Morgan can do here. It's about, well, I'm going to say about 10 car lengths. Morgan holding his own.
Yeah, the setup here definitely has to be more of a compromise than anything with the high banked oval section of the track.
Oh.
And then the inside.
Out of the chicane. Zamperlini was just so fast. Let's see if he's good out of this one as well. Yeah, he's got him if he wants him. He looks to the inside. Careful, boys. Morgan gives him room.
And that's about as textbook of a pass as you're going to find going into that first turn. If you can get a good run off the end of the chicane, I mean, turn 1's yours for the taking.
Oh, I heard something big. Let's see if I can find it. Vincent Bream from 3rd position puts it in the wall out of the first bus stop. Ouch! It's just... This has got to worry David Thurman. This is his teammate, and this is nobody around him. Boom.
Yeah, just like I've been mentioning all throughout the race, those curbs will get you.
So he comes in, he's within the window, but man, that was a tough one. No free repairs here. That's gonna take a miracle, and yeah, he's done. So that won't affect Burns other than mentally his partner is gone, and won't affect Valverde, but it does vulture another position for Rodrigo Capoletto now up into 3rd, looking for a podium. We are only just over a quarter of the way through this race, and we are losing drivers at a ferocious pace.
Well, you know, Bill, not to tout my own accomplishments, but I did pick up my first ever iRacing win this past week by being the only car that finished. And I feel like there's a decent chance we could see that here this afternoon.
That's it.
By the way, street stocks at Daytona are ridiculous. Just going to throw that out.
Okay, that makes sense. Lance Simon was racing on the lead lap, but not anymore. Burns goes around him. Let's back up to Simon, and we'll watch. We're looking at him right now. We'll see how he deals with Valverde, who's coming. Valverde doesn't even want to get a piece of him. This just goes by. Remember Fabio Zamperelli? He just spun it after getting around John Morgan. It might be fun to look at this from Morgan's point of view as he had to do a quick get around. Here's Morgan. And if we go this, we can stay right here. If we can quickly go to Frederick Neptune, because right after this, there's Frederick. We'll stay on this road. Oh, another little spin from Frederick. Whee! It's a fun day here in Charlotte. Back live. So where is Neptune after his little pirouette? In 8th. Last car on the lead lap, but that's not going to be for long. The Strudelmeister, Thomas Kick, spins it, backs it into the wall. If you got Sean Ambrose on your Christmas list, you don't want to know what to buy him. A new replay button might be good. I'm not sure it's going to work after this one. He's burning up that replay. Here we go. get a little bit of wall here as he backs it in. Again, takes Mama Jean a little while to get on her helmet and get everything set up, but should be coming soon. 6 cars on the lead lap. Back with the Strudelmeister. Racing in 6th. Burns was able to get around Neptune and Zamperlini now. Those guys are all a lap down. And I'm telling you, Dave has got to be careful because Valverde is back there 3 seconds back.
And, he's kept that gap pretty consistent throughout the race. So you got to wonder if maybe they're maybe on different pit strategies, or there's a whole laundry list of reasons he could be hanging with them and not really trying to push the issue.
But 3 seconds that's all that really matters. Burns, that is enough where Burns will have to race hard and puts him in jeopardy of making a mistake. Although Dave, I've talked to him before, and David says even when I have it out in front like this, I always race 99, 98% because I don't want to lose my rhythm. So I'm not sure if he really ever gets off the gas. Now we ride on board with the Valverde. Has many wins to his name up. Several. One this season, in fact. Around for any battles as the track. It's funny, as the attrition grows, the track seems to get larger. Best cars out there. We didn't take a look at the weather as things have calmed down a little bit. Let's pop that up, and maybe that's why everybody's having trouble.
Oh.
Yep.
So Zamperlini in the pits. Sands is from.
Oh. Yeah, this is not a minor problem. This will be... Mama Jean, if you're watching, close your eyes on this one. Through the chicane. This little chicane has been the Achilles heel. This one is brutal. Ouch. So we lose another driver. Bream is out. Van Hoyman is out. Hofladason, Butelaar, Colomb. I was looking for anybody who's going to vulture a spot. That's not the case. All right, let's look at the weather. It must be like 300 degrees as track temperature. No, not so bad. 97. Warm, but not crazy warm.
Nah, balmy 85 degrees in Charlotte, North Carolina right now.
Frederick Neptune, as we speak, bounces it off the curb. He's into the Charlotte Alfalfa. He's trying to get the car rolling. He negotiates his way back out onto the track. Not sure if he got anything. Again, it's not the track, it's the curbing that is getting these guys. And he brings it into pit lane. Here we go. I believe this is right after he had an incident before. You can see he was off pace. That's the second incident of that lap, and it was the curb. He bounces it up, loops it around. He manages to find his stall. So there is Neptune. Gets a new wing. And we'll see if we get Neptune back out there to do a few more orbits around this track. Does João Valverde have any chance of catching Burns? Well, now that gap was 3 seconds. Now it's almost 5. Wouldn't be surprised if Valverde made a mistake somewhere.
I mean, gosh, even at this point, a small mistake still probably isn't going to hurt you too bad with how few cars we have available. It may hurt him on his goal to get the win, but At this point, this race seems more like survival than anything.
There's Valverde. Now, there is a driver who's starting to make some ground, and that is Ludwig Sawyer. He is back. As I say that, he loses. He comes and goes. He had it down to 2 seconds. It's now a 3-second gap between Sawyer and Capoletto. I think if Ludwig can just put in some consistent lap times, he's got a chance of catching Rodrigo. Capoletto is just out there running, just lap after lap after lap, being consistent, not being all that fast, just not making any mistakes.
Well, when you look at that leaderboard and you see how many of your contemporaries have met an unfortunate end in this race, you got to believe you're probably going to want to back off a little bit and just, again, race to survive.
6 cars on the lead lap, the last one being John Morgan. He's got about a half a straightaway on Burns. Burns will be there sooner than we think. Racing in 6th, up 7 spots. Again, not sure if he actually passed anybody on the track. He might have. I think we might have seen Morgan actually make a pass. He negotiates this final chicane. Burns' lap times are 1:06. John Morgan about 1:04 seconds behind Burns. Do the math. Burns about 2 seconds back. There's Burns, opening up the lead now to 5.3 on Valverde.
Well, you did say that Burns is one of those guys.
Oh, Capoletto spins from 3rd position. He's going to give the spot to Sawyer. Sorry to interrupt you there. There he is. Sawyer was pressuring me. He was about 2.5 seconds back, continuing to make Capoletto race the best he could. We talked about him being clean. Didn't hit anything. That's the good thing.
No, it looks like he just got it spun back around and kept going. He did give up the 3rd position, but for some of the hits we've seen in this race, a little spin like that probably won't hurt you too bad in the long run.
Just for fun, Frederick Neptune spins the car. Hey, we got some excitement from the leaders if they've come in. Burns is in. Valverde.
Got pretty dicey there on the way out of pit road. The 2 leaders almost collecting each other.
Valverde spins the car coming out of pit lane, but he gets it going straight. Almost took it around. After finally getting up into 3rd, Ludwig Sawyer takes his pit stop.
Are they doing some repairs on that one? He sat there for a minute up in the air.
Another new wing. Well, when we started to look at it, the gap was 3 seconds. Then Burns had opened it up to about 5. It is now 12. Looking at pit stop times, Burns was considerably faster, about 6 seconds faster cone to cone, and then Valverde did kind of spin the car with a half spin leaving pit lane. So all those things going against the Portuguese driver. Burns feeling more comfortable as the race progresses. Everybody has made their stops. Neptune in making his 2nd stop. This is a long one.
Looks like a new rear wing on this one, it's going to look like, since he doesn't have one presently.
Thomas Kick just loops the car around, racing in 6th position. First car 1 lap down. Doesn't hit anything. Gets it going.
So, Bill, how many cars do we have left that haven't been in an incident so far? Because I think so far it's just Burns and...
I can think of Burns, yeah. I don't remember John Morgan having an issue, but other than that, yeah. Which means he's due. And there's Capoletto. Capoletto was in 3rd until he made a mistake, and that allowed Sawyer to get him.
That's right. He looped it out of the final bus stop. What about Lance Simon back there 1 lap down? I think he's had a pretty quiet but consistent race.
Thomas Kick is 1 lap down. John Morgan is 1 lap down, and then Lance Simon racing in 7th. Yeah, I did. For all you Cincinnati Red fans out there, I did a Joe Morgan on that one. Forgive me, I'll put $1 in the jar. For Joe Morgan, I put $2 in the jar.
Wait, are we paying for our mistakes now?
Yes, you didn't get the memo. Welcome to GSRC.
Well, better go find my wallet.
Yeah, well, it took me 1 year of broadcasting before I got out of the hole. I didn't make any money till the 2nd year. Boy, Frederick Neptune. Can we go to Neptune? He's just having an adventure. Let's get a replay on him. This is just. Here we go. And honestly, here he is in the pits. It doesn't take him long till he comes out of the pits and he loops it. Let's stay on him for a bit. Let's get a little bit of racing here from Frederick. We don't get to see him much. Let's learn how you get out of pit lane. There you go. Now, I'm not sure where the incident is going to happen, but we'll stay on it a bit. He's out there swimming. And there it is. It didn't take long. Whee! Whee!
Ooh, that jump he took over the sausage curb there made my back hurt.
David Burns just has to avoid doing that.
Oh, Neptune loops it out of the last bus stop. Just a lazy spin there.
He's really good at not hitting anything, though. I got to give Neptune credit, and I think he's finally called it a day. It's got to be close to incident cap time for Frederick. In fact, he blinked away. Maybe did he go back to his pit stall? No, he's called it. Yeah,
he's parked in the pit stall. I think he's calling it a day at this point.
I don't blame him. The way the attrition is, you just keep rolling out there as long as you keep the car going. He's 6 laps down, but it's got to be frustrating when you just can't get a lap done. All right, we're going to take a run through the field, and it's not going to take long. Hey, Chris, let's go ahead and alternate this. I'll take one, you take the next guy. David Burns is our leader. He is 12.5 seconds up on the man who is chasing him. And Chris, who is that?
Well, that would be Yao Valverde, the spiciest name on the circuit. He's had a really consistent race. Unfortunately, he's fallen a bit back since the first round of pit stops, but he's hanging in there, running out. Ooh, and he hops the curb as we're talking about him, but nonetheless keeps it pointed in the right direction. But I wonder if we might be seeing some suspension issues on that car after taking it over the whoop-de-doo there.
In 3rd, it is the leader in the F2 Championship, and he sits 3rd in the overall point standings. Of course, I'm talking about car number 13, Ludwig Sauer. He's all by himself, 35 seconds before he gets to Valverde. But there is the guy back in 4th that he just got around, Chris.
Well, Rodrigo Capoletto, he's had some issues earlier on in this event, and he's almost a minute behind last car on the lead lap, but he's hanging in there and not too far away from striking at a podium position.
Fortunately, I think he's as safe. I don't think maybe he can finish on the lead lap. That would be nice. We drop back to 5th position. First car 1 lap down. He qualified in 12th, up 5 positions. This is the Strudelmeister himself, Thomas Kick. Who's behind him, Chris?
And we got John Morgan hanging in there too, one of the drivers we featured, able to make a pass on track without any incidents. He's hanging in there and running a second car 1 lap down.
And then the last car, I think, on the track right now, as we only get to 7th, that is Lance Simon. Behind him was Frederick Neptune. He's called it a day. Everybody else is done. Neptune, Santorini, Bream, Van Hoyman, Havladezen, Boutelaar, Colombe, Vanderbilt, Garrison, Sancinelli, Craven, and Beige. Not racing. We've reached the halfway point. We've lost over half the cars. If we lose the other half, no one will finish.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's past halfway or last car standing, right?
Johan Vanderbilt, who was out very early, might be reconsidering packing his bags, see if he can get back out there and get that car to go a little bit. There are points to be won. I do have my book of Broadway show tunes here that I can break into if we need to. So don't worry, fans. You will be entertained either by the racing or by the vocal stylings of Soup. Let's take a lap around with the Sintra sensation. The Alvalverde. Sintra, the town in Portugal, where Valverde hails from. Picked up that nickname as a young child when he won a tricycle race. 3 laps around the local park.
I was just going to ask, where does one race a tricycle on the Iberian Peninsula?
Tragically, a child tipped over and broke his glasses, and they no longer hold that event for safety concerns. Valverde now working his way through this chicane and out and across the start finish line. He's managed to do that okay for 30 laps. The interval, to Burns now, 13 seconds.
This is such an interesting course to me, Bill. You have it's not so much a finesse track. It just seems like you're fighting the track as much as you're fighting your competitors.
Here is Rodrigo Capoletto that was poised to get a podium position until he made a mistake and Sauer got around him. Just a touch over 3 seconds behind Ludwig. Has no pressure back from the Strudelmeister. Kick has gone a lap down in 5th. I think Capoletto's pace is fast enough. He's 55 seconds behind the leader. I don't think Burns is going to get there to lap him. I think Capoletto is safe to finish on the lead lap. Especially since Burns is not going to be looking to hot lap so much. So, where are we going next time, you might want to wonder, huh? How about something a little more traditional? We'll be at the Watkins Glen International Raceway. We'll have the boot configuration with all the parts of the shoe wear. The toe, the heel, even the sole and the laces. You don't want to miss that one.
So, Bill, these guys do still have another pit stop to make, if I am correct.
Yes, they definitely do, unless they call the race due to lack of excitement.
Well, they have you and I on the call, so there's no way that's
do.
going to happen.
I'm telling you, we're holding our viewers because they have hopes of, man, you haven't missed anything unless you don't want to miss me singing I Feel Pretty.
That's literally half the reason I signed up with GSRC.
Here you go. David, third-degree burns. Look at that interval. 14 seconds between him and Yao Valverde. Going to be a good points day for Valverde. And, of course, there's a team championship as well. So Burns is out there. This is important because his teammate Vincent Bream in Two Stupid Dogs is going to look like he's going to get 10th position. Maybe we can get a picture of the TV screen here at Charlotte. See what's playing on that. We have a camera up there. That's too bad. Okay, well, we don't have. This Sunday is Walking Dead. Oh, the season is over, so I thought I'd see if we'll tune in and get a Walking Dead show going.
Guess that means you're the waiting dead until the season's over.
That's it. Hey, we got two cars that are close together on the track. Let's go to fifth position. Thomas Kick. He's about to be passed by Yao Valverde. It's not for position.
I mean, at this point, it's all we got, so yeah, we'll talk about it.
Page 17 of the GSRC Commentator's Handbook says, don't denigrate the product. It's a great show. I know you're having a good time. Listen to Chris Foley and Bill Souzon. Bill, as we have 7 cars out on track right now.
Yo, Bill, I do joke, but this is honestly a really fun race to see these types of cars go around a track like this that's really not designed for this style of racing.
Right. I say bring them back. I say they won't like it. The drivers won't like it, but I say bring it back and let's learn from our mistakes and try it one more time next season.
I'd totally agree. I think it's really interesting to see these guys not so much racing each other, but trying to figure out where the limit is. And I think the guys that race today have a pretty good idea of how far they can push it. I mean, the guys that we have on the track were some of the guys that I saw have issues in hot laps earlier today. And some of these guys learned, and some of them, unfortunately, didn't decide to stop touching the hot stove.
I agree. Let's reward Lance Simon and John Morgan and Thomas Kick for staying out there and racing. Let's bring it back here. Obviously, they know how to get to the end.
Exactly. Look at Lance Simon. He qualified 15th, the last driver that took a time, and he's still running out there. He's going to get credited if everything finishes as it is right now. He's going to get credited with a 7th place finish. I mean, to finish first, you must first finish, and he's taken that to heart, and he's ran a consistent race, very smooth. You know, we haven't had to talk about him spinning at all, and he's going to be rewarded with some points.
Got a text from Mama Jean. iRacing will not let her sign into an event after it started. So sorry, Mama Jean. I forgot that rule.
Wait, she's 96, can run Facebook, iRacing, and can text?
She's awesome. She's watching these shows too. She's a loyal listener here, viewer of GSRC.
I think you might be getting catfished by your mother-in-law. I think she's actually like 20-something and is secretly a master of modern technology.
Her comment after every one of these races says, "Why do the other people talk so much? They don't let you talk enough, honey." Oh, thank you, Mama Jean.
So does that mean I should stop talking?
No, that means we should send out a text to Joe Peak and everyone else on GSRC, have them come in and help out. Sauer in 3rd position. He's got Lance Simon in front of him here. He'll be running them down pretty soon. You know, I talked about Capoletto not going a lap down. He's now a minute 1 behind the leader. He was about 57 seconds last time I checked, so it's something to watch out for if Burns can get to Capoletto. Or Eagle going to have to pick it up.
You know, when I was doing my research on this course before we started today, one thing that I saw pretty much universally mentioned, again, going back to the curbs that I've been talking about pretty much the whole race, but that sausage curb out of the first bus stop, I've been told if you clip that, there's a really good chance it's going to screw up the suspension geometry on whatever you're driving. And I saw Valverde hit it earlier, and we were doing our walk through the field, and it's very possible that might be what's slowing some of these guys down so drastically, is them hitting those curbs and possibly tweaking just enough to make these cars a little less fun to drive.
If this race is leaving you hungry for excitement, well, I got the recipe for you. Stick around, because coming up just a few minutes after this event is done, right here on the iRacing Esports Network, is GSRC's coverage of the Weekend Warriors. Now, that's going to be packed full of excitement. SRFs are going to be going to Interlagos. You do not want to miss that one. Oh, it's going to be Silverstone. That's even better. That's going to go live at 3:45 Eastern. Just about an hour from now. I'm hearing now it's 2:45 Eastern. Okay.
So, like, right now?
Right now, apparently.
But don't go anywhere.
No, wait a minute now. Wait, forget everything I just said. Wait till we finish before you go look over there.
Yeah, I looked at the clock and made that statement that I'm like, but wait, we're still here. So
that's right. Oh, now I'm getting that it is 3:45 Eastern.
so Sean's just messing with us.
Yeah, see, that was our director telling us that things were going.
See, I can't tell time anyway, so I don't even know why I'm bothering talking about what's on a clock.
David Burns out there. He can see Capoletto now. Capoletto's really hoping to stay on the lead lap. He's now 1:03 behind Burns with lap times of 1:06. 17 minutes of racing to go. Got bad news for all the friends and family of Rodrigo Capoletto. He is not going to finish on the lead lap unless Burns gets struck by lightning. There is another pit stop to happen, which means they have to get into pit lane, and anything can happen there, and they have to come out of pit lane. If I were these guys, I would not be changing tires. Hopefully they don't want to, although they do cool off when you're in there. Maybe changing tires, maybe it's better to have new tires than old tires that have cooled off during pit lane. There is Rodrigo. Take a quick look at his paint scheme, see if he has anything on there. No, he's going to sponsorless. That's the way it should be.
Unless you want to get paid by a sponsor. I'm a salesman for a living, so I look at the blank side pods and I'm thinking dollar signs.
Yep. I did a winged 360 race the other night, and here on GSRC, of course, we cover the dirt track racing every Wednesday night. You want to tune in for that one? A lot of sponsor space on those winged sprint cars, boy.
It's always great when it can serve the dual purpose of downforce and advertising.
Valverde just starting to pick it up a bit.
Think maybe he's trying to put in some quick times as he heads pit side.
Yeah, I think he just knows he has a 40-second gap back to Ludwig Sauer. As long as he doesn't put it in the wall, he's in pretty good shape.
What do you think about that transition up to the banking, Bill? It looks like that's kind of been a little bit of a tricky spot for some of these drivers.
Well, one thing I've noticed, the first thing was I wanted to see on the old road course at Charlotte, they had what I used to call the Velcro fence there that would lead back out onto the oval. You would get your car off and it would just kind of suck you. I'm glad to see that they have a friendlier entrance back onto the oval from the road course. Burns now within yelling distance of Capoletto to get Rodrigo a lap down. We've reached the 3/4 mark. Charlotte, of course, in North Carolina, stock car country.
You know, if we're going to talk about upcoming broadcasts, speaking of, coming up this afternoon around 4:45 as Burns pulls in to the pit area, got the Big C's MX-5 Cup making their inaugural race on the GSRC coming up this afternoon. Just plugging it since I'll be there calling it anyway.
That'll be fun. Fixed setups in the MX-5s should make for some competitive racing. David Burns comes in for his final stop. In and out.
Looked like a pretty clean pit stop for him as he hits the blend line back onto the course.
Okay. Which will allow me to say, let me get my enthusiasm to say, we have a new leader, Yao Valverde, out in front. There we go. If it rains, if Martians attack the Tar Heel state, this race will be called, and Yao Valverde will get credited with the win. I keep calling for the Martian attack. iRacing keeps telling me, next build, Soup, next build. All right.
Valverde pulls down onto pit road.
And that'll allow Burns to go by. And we have a pass for the lead. We'll look here at Capoletto, who made his pit stop. It wasn't so much what happened during the pit stop. It was coming around, had a little bit of a spin. And that pit stop and that spin has finally put him one lap down as Burns was able to get around him. Capoletto in fourth. Behind him on the track, Lance Simon. But he's a lap down.
So Ludwig Sauer up into the third spot. I believe he's actually been there for a little bit. But he still has a pit stop left to go, Bill.
Yeah, even though he hasn't made his final pit stop, he still was not able to get the lead. Simon comes into the pits. Racing in seventh, 3 laps down. He's got 23 laps on the car behind him of Frederick Neptune. Safe to say that Lance Simon will finish no worse than 7th.
So you're saying Neptune will not orbit Lance Simon?
No. All right, here's how you make a pit stop. Ludwig Sauer comes in, hits his box. Car goes up on the jacks. Car comes off the jacks, he gets on the gas. Now be careful here. We've seen many cars have trouble making this sharp left-hander. No problem. That's why you are the F2 point leader.
So it looks like just our 3 guys on the podium left on the lead lap. Am I seeing that correct?
That would be it. You know, the best of the best in the iRacing World Championship, as well as top private leagues like the one you're watching right now, are showcased right here, as we have the little fanfare in the background, on the iRacing Esports Network. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe. GSRC is proud to be part of the IESN stable of broadcasters.
You know, that IESN network deal must be about the best sales pitch for iRacing there is. You know, as a race fan, I was going through the winter and fiending for some racing quality, and sitting here watching these guys like we're doing today. That's what got me to open up the wallet and pick up iRacing.
I've heard many times where people say how they enjoy watching a sim race broadcast even more than a real world broadcast. They're quick, there's no commercials, there's lots of action.
And there's you.
And you can laugh at the commentators, that's right. I'm sure that you laugh with us, but, you know, whatever it takes to get you to watch us. Looking here, we got Ludwig Sauer and Capoletto in a battle. Now, what has happened to Sauer? Well, make sure that Capoletto made his stop. Sauer made his stop. Capoletto was in there for about 3 seconds less than Sauer. Wow, we got something to watch here.
Yeah, there must have been some damage on Sauer's car, because I did notice when we watched him go down pit road, he did kind of hang around his pit box for a little bit.
Well, I think... And Sauer is a lap down now, yeah. So we missed something there. Not surprising with so many cars to keep track of that sometimes stuff gets away from us. Sauer is about to be overtaken, though. So, friends and family, the fan club of Rodrigo Capoletto, stand up and cheer. He's about to get a podium. Racing behind Ludwig Sauer. He's coming. 3 car lengths back, 4 car lengths back. Sauer gets a great run out of the chicane. Opens up the lead now. Rodrigo Capoletto trying to close the gap like David Letterman's dentist. Interval about 0.8 of a second. Through the twisty sections.
Sauer's pulling away a little bit, but I mean, they're occupying the same screen space here as we watch the battle, so it's going to be a tight one here as we have closing in on 5 minutes left to run in this.
Plenty of time for Capoletto to get there. Sauer has picked it up a bit. Back out onto the oval. Up onto the banking. Capoletto probably can just get a sniff of the toe from where he is. 0.7 of a second back. Sauer hits that chicane perfectly. Opens up 0.3 of a second on his rival. Gets it rolled up, under braking through the second chicane. Back out, coming across the line. Completing for him lap number 48. All this going on behind David Burns, who is 22 seconds up on Yao Valverde.
You know, but as we've seen throughout this race, this is one of those don't turn away until the last minute types of events, because there's been so much going on and so many crazy incidences that we've had throughout this one that really a 22-second gap, you got to wonder if even that is a safe distance.
If David Burns doesn't get this win, I will eat this roll of duct tape that's sitting on my desk here. This is...
Should I ask why
talked
you
about
have the duct tape on your desk?
I don't go anywhere without duct tape. You never know when you might get, shot or need to make a kite. Duct tape. It'll do anything.
Well, Bill, we talked about compromise setups earlier on today with the different challenges this course provides. And watching Ludwig Sauer go around the track, I think maybe he was set up a little bit more for the twisty turny parts of this track, because he's been using those exits off the interior of the track to kind of pull away, and he's now gapped the field.
Lance Simon spins it. Can we get a look at this one? It'll be fun from the Strudelmeister from Thomas Kick. Nope, I guess we're not going to look at that one. There's Simon. Here we go, take a look. Lance was having such a nice run back there in 7th. There's Thomas Kick behind him. You be the driver. Go left, go right. You don't know what's going to happen. You make the call. I'm going to go low. I chose right. AJ Foyt taught me that the best way to avoid an accident is to aim at the spinning car. It won't be there when you get there. I tried that as a teenager. I slammed right into a parked car. I forgot the fact that it only works if the car is actually spinning. David Burns out in front by 23 seconds on Yal Valverde. With 2 minutes to go, it looks like we're going to get to the end of this race without the lead commentator breaking into song. Let's go to 3rd. Sawyer, I thought, was driving away with it. Capoletto has run him down.
Well, Bill, these drivers have a great way of making us look like liars, and these two proving it as they continue to duke it out over the 3rd spot. Capoletto keeping Sauer within his sights, and we'll see what we have in the final 2 minutes.
Capoletto good into the braking section, not so good coming out of it, but boy, he's closer than he's been in a while. Burns working his way around the penultimate lap. Working through the twisty sections, back out onto the oval. A couple chicanes, and then he'll see the flag that has no pigment. As we look at Burns getting that white flag. Through the first chicane.
So the flag man's not giving up. That's not what the white flag means.
No, that's if that were the case, you would have waved it a while ago. Capoletto, once he gets out onto the oval, Capoletto able to open it up. Sauer able to open it up on Capoletto. They see the white flag. They're a lap behind. They're only going to do 52 laps, while our leaders will do 53. Simon has called it a day. He will not finish on the track. 6 cars will get to the end. John Morgan, the last car racing. Burns out on the oval again. He gridded in 2nd position. Found his way up to the front early on. It's been good night nurse ever since. Just one final chicane to go through. Let's get round number 5. Formula Eagle, the 2019 spring season goes to David Burns. Yal Valverde will get second.
Looks like Ludwig Sauer going to come home in the final podium position with Rodrigo Capoletto following him home.
And because they are a lap down, their race is over. In fact, as soon as Valverde crosses the line, everybody's race will be done. Valverde, sadly, the last car on the lead lap, happily, will get second position. All right, the racing is over, but our broadcast is far from done. We'll take a short break. We'll come back to run down the finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Don't go far. You're watching GSRC on IESM. Streaming cyberspace into your place on the iRacing Esports Network. This is the Global SimRacing Channel's coverage of the Formula Neagle 2019 Spring Season Championship, round number 5 here from Charlotte Roval. David Burns picks up this season 16 win as he goes from second position on the grid, gets the lead, holds it all the way, loses it a little bit under pit stops, gets the win, and increases his points lead. Yal Valverde did all he could to keep the pressure on Burns, but there was no denying third degree on this one. Ludwig Sauer was up and down the points, up and down the timing and scoring. He was able to hold off Rodrigo Capoletto for the final podium spot. Capoletto has to settle for fourth. Thomas Kick will get the final top 5 position. Last car racing, John Morgan. Lance Simon was out there for a long time, finished 7 laps down in 7th. 8th, 9th, and 10th go 34, 38, and 42 laps behind the leader, Frederick Neptune, Fabio Zampolini, and Vincent Bream. The rest of these I'm going to give to Chris.
All right, we had Tom Van Humen just outside of the top 10 with Michael Hafledson. I'm sure I brutalized that one again. But Hafeldazen, there we go. He unfortunately was our leader early on, but out in an early incident. Then David Boudelaire, Richard Colombe, and Johan Vanden Velde completing our cars that started the race. Dennis Garrison, Gilherme Cravo, Edgar Sanchinelli, and Jay Beige not making the start.
They may be the 4 of the wisest of all of them. Okay, let's go ahead and talk to our race winner, David Third Degree Burns. All right, David, you got to the end. I don't know what you're going to be able to tell us about this one other than this track must have been just brutal to race.
You know what? In many ways, it doesn't look anything like Detroit Belle Isle, but in many ways, it shares a lot of similarities. So many close walls, and that chicane. I'm actually surprised as many people finished as they did. So you're racing more the track than other people in this one.
You know what? I did some time in the car just to get an idea of what was going on. For me, the second chicane, well, I guess it was harder to get speed on, but I didn't realize the first chicane, that quick one, was the one that was catching everybody.
Well, yeah, because it's that balance of you can actually do it full throttle, but the risk of your car clipping the two curbs on the exit is either it's going to kill you or it actually did give your car under a floor damage. So it meant you would be slower in the pit stops. So it was that balance of do I full throttle, do I lift, do I angle? Very scary chicane in that car.
All right. Have you talked to the friends and family? Do they realize that you have a chance for your first championship and that these next two races we're going to go in 2 weeks and in 4 weeks that you're going to be busy? You're going to make sure to show up for these and get that crown?
Oh, I'll definitely be there. There's just
Okay.
no thing. But I did actually say it to someone, and they basically just turned around. Well, it's only taken you 10 seasons to get there by time.
It is indeed. Boy, I'll let you out of here on this one. Valverde was back there. At least he was keeping you honest for a long time, above 3 or 4 seconds back. One mistake and it would have cost you.
Yeah, it was. He had damage each time he went into the pits. He had required repairs, which was about 10 seconds. Hence why he dropped off so much.
Got it. Well, congratulations on the win. Let's bring it home, get that first championship.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
David Burns, your winner today, on the way to the crown. All right, Chris, who you got?
Well, we have our third place finisher, Ludwig Sauer, joining us in the booth. Ludwig, that was a great little run you had there towards the end, trying to hold off the challenge for the third spot. What does it feel like to come home on the podium today?
Oh, it's great. It's my first podium ever in the Formula Neagle. It's my best position. And it was really tight at the end. I got some required repairs in the pit. And Rodrigo came very close, and I really had to up my speed. Basically meaning going full throttle to the first chicane every time.
Now, that first chicane was mentioned as kind of a trouble zone around the track. It looked overall like it was a very challenging course for all you guys out there. What were some of the big things you were fighting during this?
Oh, basically just survival. I got my race set up set for the bumps, very soft, a bit like a boat, but it made it till the end, and you got to be there to take the podium.
Ludwig is superior. You talked about required repairs. You know, we did this series in Formula Neagle when we were doing the Renaults, the 2.0s. And they would get damage on the undercarriage from going over the curbs. And even though the car was fast, they would need required repairs. And that's kind of what's going on with this car, too, where they're making you come in and change stuff even though you're still quick.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't hit a wall or something, so it must be from the sleeping policemen in the first chicane.
You got a real good chance at the F2 crown. Not to mention, you're up in the point standings in the overall.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just looked out in a lot of early races where the trouble just didn't hit me, and I got to the end. So just dieseling till the last race.
All right, congratulations on the win. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We're going to bring in the Strudelmeister. Since I butted in there on Chris, we'll let Chris talk to Thomas Kick here as he got himself, a fifth place finish. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, Thomas, congratulations on a top 5 finish. That looked like a adventurous race, to say the least. Can you walk us through kind of how things went for you?
Yes, thank you very much. Well, it was very tiring, to say at least. I think right after that I will jump into the shower because, I was lonely, like nobody was next to me, but I was kind of happy because I was fighting the track so much that if I would have other drivers, it would be even more chaos for me, I think. I had really problems in qualifying because the temperature was really high. The temperature got down, so after each lap, the track got a little bit better and a little bit better. But still, it's very you're fighting more the bumps and the curves than in the car. Than other drivers. So I was kind of shocked that if I managed to go through without any big incidents.
Now, you mentioned that you were fighting the track more than so much your competitors. What part of the track would you say was the hardest for you to get through?
Well, that's a good question, but it's somehow even during the race it changed. So at the beginning, I think turn 2 and 3, or turn 2 was kind of hard. The chicane, of course, always. So you go maybe not full throttle, but you can opt to go a little bit faster. You will probably 1 out of 10 you will have a little bit trouble, so it's kind of a gamble. And I decided to take it slower through the chicane, like the whole race. I did not go full throttle, and it was okay. So the moment you don't go full through the chicane, it's actually kind of easy. And I had troubles after each pit stop. I think I had also required repairs every time. Even though I didn't have like big incidents, but you have required repairs. The tires cool down, and even like the slight change between the track and the car will get you in another. You have to get another rhythm. And I think I spun it 2 times, and every time it was right after the pit stop. So that was more of the trouble. To adjust to the track as it changed. So it's hard to say. Like every corner was more or less on the limit, but yeah, that was the most problem for me.
Well, thanks for coming on with us today, Thomas. Congratulations on a good run, and we'll hope to see you back in a couple weeks.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, that's going to do it here for us. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. First thing I want you all to do is run over to your ovens right now, turn it up to 425, and come back and listen to these thank yous. We're going to start by thanking the Absolute Beginners Leagues for organizing Formula Neagle and contracting with GSRC to broadcast. Thanks to the companies, equipment, and software you see on the screen right now that we use on our broadcast. The original music that gives every GSRC production that unique flavor and feel is thanks to June Lalonde. See the screen to how to contact her for more of her great work. Formula Neagle returns in 2 weeks. That's April 21st for round 6. That's going to be at Watkins Glen. GSRC and IESN will be there, and we hope you join us. So why did I have you turn on your oven? Well, in a minute, I want you to stick in a pizza because you'll have time to put the pizza in, and in 25 minutes it'll be done. That's right when IESN is going to be bringing you GSRC's coverage of the Weekend Warriors. That's going to be going live in just about 30 minutes. Now, you don't want to miss that. It's going to be fun. Sliding across your screen now are some of the upcoming broadcasts, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. If you'd like more information about GSRC, including a complete list of future broadcasts, you can find it at globalsimracing.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. And while you're here, if you haven't done so yet, become a YouTube subscriber. What you'll need to do is actually go over to our YouTube page and subscribe to that YouTube button. Don't forget to subscribe to IESN as well. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, and that would be Chris, Sean, and Dougie, I'd like to thank all of you for watching as we saw David Third Degree Burns pick up this round 5 win from the Charlotte Roval on the way to his first Formula Neagle Championship. With that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.